Hello, Renee Flamond here. I wanted to talk about this because I think sometimes people don't really realize how much a revolving door the narcissist life is, and how it really is just their life. They live their life, the entire way they live it is like a game, and they emotions are not involved as much as they make us think that they might be involved. And the narcissist definitely wants to win the game. They want to win the game. So they manipulate the game to go the way that they want. Where you are in the cycle of your game, you might be towards, say, the end of your cycle or the endings of your cycle. It's the beginning of somebody else's. After that first infraction with you, disaster date, rug being pulled out, that first time, that moment, they have to further smush you, and they will. How you see them is wrecked, and they know that. Smushing you further, and then love bombing you, and then smushing you and love bombing you, and then smushing you and love bombing you, is the cycle that creates the trauma bond that you will have difficulty breaking. It's very powerful, and you stay because they keep giving you a taste of what you thought it was going to be. They give you a taste, and then a bad time, and then they give you a taste, and then they give you a bad time, and you're working constantly harder to get back to the good. And that's where the cycle is happening for you. And they love watching you on that hamster wheel, trying to satisfy them, doing everything you can. If they can't have your unadulterated, ego-tripping swoon anymore because they've been knocked down a peg because you caught them doing something or you figured something out, they at least want to see that they can love bomb their way back into your heart. They can still get you. They can still charm you. That'll feed their ego too. Do you know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, while you're going through that, during all those points of bad with you, the cycle's beginning for someone else. With love bombing, while they're still trying to make you think they want you. So during the bad with you, in between the love bombings, creating your trauma bond, they're out and they've been busy and they're hedging. Because they can't be alone for 1 second, they panic. So they know they have, wronged you. You had the blowout, you had the fight. They know they're knocked down a peg. They're no longer the almighty around you. They know it. They have to find somebody who thinks they're the almighty. So therein will begin their hunt for new unknowing supply so they can sell themselves as such and have someone, swoon and fawn over them and think they're the greatest thing since a bucket of chicken. They can't stand that you can't see them the same way anymore. They knew it would happen, but they did it anyway because it's their cycle. That was the point at which in your relationship, maybe you asked a question or dared have a conversation about something they did, or they don't like parameters. Anything like that can trigger them. But it doesn't matter. They just might be in the mood to do it. So it's nothing you do. So your cycle is nearing the end. This poor girl's getting love bombed, and you're hurting, and they'll keep trying to balance both. Because they detest losing the game. And I really detest telling you that like that. Because a lot of us want to think that we meant something and that something was real. This is a game to them. So even if you're hurting, because they detest losing, they're going to fight to keep you even though they're already courting somebody else. Because that one took me a long time to figure out, why are they doing that then? Just move on. Because they don't like losing. And they don't want to leave the situation unless they control exactly how it plays out. So they'll continue to try to get you just to see if they can. That is the entire enjoyment for them. The win, the get. So see, that's why a lot of times when they are hoovering you, then they seem to maybe disappear. If you happen to return a call of theirs, they could call you 55 times. You finally call them, maybe they'll give you one conversation, maybe two, and then boom, they're gone again. You were so desperate, you left me 1,000 messages, and now, or worse yet, they don't even answer the phone. They just wanted to see that they could, and that you would be there. It is the game of it. And I think that if we understand that the cycle is how they play their game, then we could maybe be more careful with ourselves towards the end of the cycle and have our eyes open to when there's a bad period with your narcissist and they go MIA, and I'm not saying they ran out and slept with somebody. I mean, they might have. But I know they're talking to people. You know they're talking to people. They're not wherever crying over you. And no. They have to keep their game moving. It's like shell, like a bunch of things at once. They're doing all the time, a million things at once. Lying to people, creating stories, lying to you, lying to New Supply, telling New Supply they don't have a girlfriend, telling you they want to be with you and they weren't doing anything, and that they were home crying or with their friends or with their son or with, you know what I mean? They'll make up a bunch of things. They were up to no good. I don't care what they tell you. I don't care. If you had a downward cycle with them and they were off and not in your company, and you had a blowout, they are up to no good. Because they cannot risk being alone for a second. So if they're teetering on, wow, that might really blow up, she seemed really, really mad, they have to scramble. Unless they already had people and that's why you're in a fight. Then they're all set. Because if you're in that big of a fight, they were doing something. And it's never less than what you think. It's never less than what you think. I promise you. Now, I'm not saying if you're paranoid over every little thing, maybe, but I bet you're right about everything. I bet you're right. Even if you start to make yourself think you're paranoid because every single thing they start to do is wrong. Because once they know you're onto them, mine was almost out in the open. Technically, we weren't together, so he could be. It's a long story. But I'm saying, I don't think that they mind hurting your feelings. I think that that's a part of the game. Because then they see, oh, now she's in a hole. I got to get her back out of it. And then they come with more love bombing. And then you give them another chance. That gave them a rush. So that's the cycle with you. They're in the devaluing back and forth phase. They're in a new phase with somebody else. They might still be talking to the ex-girlfriend that he had before he was with you. He might have more than one New Supply he's courting. Do you know what I mean? When he met you, he was courting more than one person. You bit. I bit. But he was online. I'm sure it was 10 messages to people that day. Call me. Hi, honey. Like he says things like that. We ended up getting together. I'm sure he had a roster from that. And they're playing it all in the beginning for probably well into the relationship. They just happen to end up spending a lot of time with you. And maybe it falls off with those people and maybe it doesn't. Maybe they spend 6 months with you, just with you. Maybe they do. But eventually they go back to that person and start it all over again. But they got to smush you a little bit before they go because it's fun. And because it's part of the cycle, they have to devalue you. So that's going to be the triangulation, the cheating, the lying. The gaslighting is a big one that they'll use, is making you think you're crazy for even thinking that anything is wrong. They'll absolutely stand by that forever. You're psychotic. They'll say that. You're crazy. Look at you. You're insane. How dare you think I would do that? That's all part of the game. To make you doubt yourself and believe in them. What a power trip can you imagine to them? You know it. You know what you know. You know it. You see it. You have it. And they're making you think you don't see it. That's got to be bonus points for them in this game of ego boosting, is my guess. They're making you doubt something that you know is true. Gaslighting is particularly insidious. I've made videos on it. I'll make another one. It's really mean to do to somebody to make them think you're insane. For thinking, and especially you know it's true. You know it's true. So I want you to give thought to the cycle, because wherever you are, somebody's about to begin it, and maybe in a year from now, or whatever their pattern is, maybe they're on a 5-year turnaround, maybe they're on a 1-year turnaround, maybe they're on a 15-year turnaround. But whenever it happens, that new person that he's going to every time he leaves you, they're going to end up going through exactly what you're going through. And we could all make it easier on ourselves and harder on the narcissist if we all challenged the narcissist more, regardless of where we were in the cycle. And by challenge, I mean don't respond, make a decision to be black and white about it, don't allow them to ruffle our feathers, say we're on to you, move on. But it's impossible because you were in love, and that was your beginning of your beginning cycle. He's about to do the same thing to another person. There's no good point on the whole cycle. There's no good point on the cycle. Not love bombing isn't any better than what you're going through now if you're in the bad part. Because let me tell you, love bombing, that's when they get you. That's when they get you. That sets you up for everything. The better they do with that, the harder you're going to fall. So that's no joke either. You can say, well, I felt like I was on cloud 9. I don't care. We found out it wasn't real. Done. Not a good stage. And what you're going through is very painful if you're towards the end of the cycle, and I get that. Oh, my God. And I think of this girl who's going through it now that I know, and my heart breaks for her. And I think, wow, mine's over a year ago now. What she's happening to her now, mine's a year ago. And maybe a year from now she'll feel better. Or maybe a year from now she'll still be with him. Everyone goes through their own journey. Everyone goes through it. And you know you can't. Nobody could have told you anything with your narcissist. I try to advise you the best that I can. I've tried most things. But I just wanted to let you know it really is just a game that they want to win. Regardless of what point in the cycle. They love bomb hard because they want to win. They love bomb hard in the devalue because they want to see you win you back. You know what I mean? They smush you and smush you because they want to see how bad they can make you feel. Because then that's a bigger challenge, getting you back from that. That's a power trip too. They hurt you so bad, yet you're still there for them. Their head's got to be bigger than Mount Vesuvius. I mean, God, right? I got her back again. Let's watch out for that and keep our eyes open regardless of what point in the cycle you are in. Eyes open.